In this video, I'm going to show you how to arrange for 5 trumpets. There are a lot of good reasons and a bit of history as to why you might want to use 5 trumpets in your big band writing. I'll get into that in a moment, but first I want to encourage you to hit that subscribe button, click the like button, hit the bell icon, and definitely check out my Patreon. That helps me make videos like this one. The main reason why you probably want to learn how to arrange for 5 trumpets in a big band is because the band that you play in has 5 trumpets in it. There's lots of good reasons to use 5 trumpets in a band, but before we get to that, let me explain to you why I use 4 trumpets in Pandemonium Big Band. The biggest, mainest reason is that the more people you have, the more people you have to pay. So if you can get the same sound with fewer people, I usually opt for that. But of course, you know, each part is really important, so if you write for 5 trumpets in your arrangement, you're going to want to have 5 trumpeters there to play it, because your arrangement won't sound right unless all the parts are covered. You're writing yourself into a situation where you have more mouths to feed on your gigs. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Where do 5-horn bands come from? Well, you know, I don't know the exact history of it, but I know there are a lot of famous bands that used 5 horns. The most prominent was Stan Kenton. Stan Kenton had a 10 brass big band, 5 trumpets, 5 trombones, and sometimes he also had 4 mellophonium. I think that's right, mellophonium? They're basically mellophones. I don't know, they're out of tune and they're terrible, but they sound like French horns, and that's what he used in his band. So 14 brass sometimes, but a lot of times it was 10 brass, 5 trumpets, 3 tenor bones, and 2 bass trombones. And Stan Kenton was huge in jazz education when he was sort of at the top of the big band game. And so a lot of university bands, still to this day, are built off of that Stan Kenton tradition. The biggest, sort of the most prominent jazz program in the United States to be doing this is at the University of North Texas in Denton. A lot of alumni from that program have come through Pandemonium Big Band. The Maynard Ferguson Band used 5 trumpets, and so does John Clayton. The Clayton Hamilton Jazz Orchestra uses 5 trumpets. So a lot of, I'm sure I'm only scratching the surface, a lot of really, really great big bands used 5 trumpets. So why? If you think of the trumpet section as a 4-horn section, and refer to some of my earlier videos on how to voice a trumpet section, the best one probably being a video that I called Shout Chorus. How to write a shout chorus. Because I talked about the 2 main voicings I use for the trumpet section. The first one being closed voicing, where you don't double the melody. So you got the melody in first trumpet, then all the closest chord voices down below, leaving at least a minor third between the first and the second voice. And you know, that is a closed voicing for the trumpet section. Or when the lead trumpet gets high enough, you really need that lower octave, so you switch to a triadic voicing and just trust that the rest of the chord voices are going to speak through from the saxophones and or the trombones playing below. The first big advantage to having 5 trumpets is that you always can have that lower octave. A typical 5-trumpet section is going to look a lot like a saxophone section voiced in closed voicing on the score. The other really cool thing about having 5 trumpets in your band is you're able to use one of the trumpets to do something else. So you can take 5th trumpet, or any of the trumpets for that matter, but it's usually trumpet 5, and have them play a unison part with a saxophone and a trombone, maybe. While that's going on, you can still have a full sounding trumpet section with the other 4 trumpets playing some kind of background figures. Logically, you can also have one of the trumpets taking an improvised solo and do the same thing. So having 5 trumpets allows you to have a full sounding trumpet section while one of the trumpets is unavailable to play. Well, let's get right to the part that you're probably wondering is, do 5 trumpets sound different than 4 trumpets? And to my ears, not really. That's one of the reasons why I only use 4 trumpets in my band. But, major but, there are those advantages that we talked about before. So maybe to you, in the way that you're going to be arranging music, those advantages are going to be so important that it's worth having an extra person there. Or of course, if you're writing for your school ensemble and they use 5 trumpets, it'll be better having each person on their own part than having 2 people doubling 4th trumpet, or having the 5th trumpet playing a Xerox copy of the 1st trumpet but taking most of the things down an octave. Neither of those choices are as good as them having their own part. In order to illustrate how the same it sounds, I'm gonna use a shout passage from a chart that I arranged very recently. They did a duet, a swing version of Lil Nas X's Industry Baby recently, and it went viral. But I'm going to use the shout chorus, or the outro shout chorus from that to illustrate the point. So first, let's hear it as is. So if you're looking really closely, during some of the figures, the trumpets were voiced in closed voicing. And then when the lead trumpet got high enough, I switched to triadic voicing that doubles the octave. In adding the 5th part, I have to actually move notes between parts. But that's easy enough. I play trumpet, so I can re-record these things. So here it is with 5 trumpet parts. I couldn't really hear the difference. Just to illustrate, super illustrate, here is a bit of that shout chorus with just the trumpets isolated. Here is 4 trumpets. And here's 5 trumpets. I don't know if you could hear the difference, but definitely check out Industry Baby. That video, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter. There are links in the description. Check it out. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, follow-up questions about 5 trumpets or anything, definitely put them in the comments below. Or even better, join my Patreon and send me an email and do all the things. That said, I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.